Hey guys, Abraham Ovadia here. I'm at the 2024 FGA Workhorse with Barry M. Snyder. He's an attorney practicing in Aventura. Barry, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is, what practice areas you handle, and we'll get started there.
Well, I do personal injury. Been doing it for over 40 years.
Wow. I'm 39 years old, so I just want to point that out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just like doing trial work. I like helping people, lawyers especially. I'm involved in coaching and mentoring.
Okay.
I'm involved with the FJA. What I like most is when you go up against a big insurance company, or you take on somebody and you get a fair result, a good result, a just result for somebody. That's important to me. My background is that I used to be a prosecutor, police officer, and then I do some criminal defense, and that mixes in with doing personal injury and being, board certified. But that's what I like to do. I like
Are
to
you
help
board
people.
certified?
Yes.
In what?
In civil trial.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's an incredible achievement just in itself, right? I mean,
well, I don't know, but I like what I do is I like helping people. I like kids. I'm very involved in the community. So that's what I like to do. Sometimes I will jump in with other lawyers and help them try their cases. I work with Amy Singer, who is a nationally known jury consultant. She's done like the Casey Anthony case, the Kennedy case. So I've worked with her in the past as one of her attorneys,
Okay. I was involved in the Casey Anthony case. I don't
really
know that.
Do you remember Amy?
No, I was involved in that. I'll tell you how.
Okay.
I was going to court in Orlando. I show up for a PIP pretrial hearing. Are you familiar with PIP suits?
Yes.
A PIP suit pretrial hearing. And I'm like, what is this mob scene going on? I'm being facetious. I was involved in that case. I go, what is going on? And it was the Casey Anthony trial that was being televised. And I'm at the same courthouse for a PIP suit for $300 or something. And I'm like, this is my connection to the Casey Anthony case. Like, people are like, oh, you were there that day. They're like, were you involved in the case? I go, kind of. I was there that day. I don't know about the other thing, but that's that was an incredible case. It was I just happened to be there that day, and I go, what is going on? But I didn't even make it into the courtroom. It was a zoo, that courthouse. Were you there for that, or no? You were just talking to her.
I was just talking to her, involved with. But I've done one of my great achievements, so to speak. We had a case in Mississippi that was a criminal case. It was like a Grisham movie. Oh. And it was a 12-year-old boy that was charged with first-degree murder. And he gave a confession, a videotape colored confession that he did it. Now, how do you argue against that? And it just turned out that basically we polarized the case because he wanted to protect his sister. So he lied to protect his sister. So the question was, is he a cold-blooded killer, or is he a loving brother who would lie, being 12 years old, to help his sister?
Was his sister?
She was convicted. But they both were convicted. His case went on appeal because a improper doctor made a thesis. He said that two people held the gun at the same time and involved the kid based on the confession that he gave. And it later turned out that there's no scientific basis for it. He just made it up. This is the prosecutor using a doctor, a medical examiner, to make up a false statement.
It's crazy. And that kind of stuff happens all the time in this country, unfortunately.
So we got a not guilty verdict.
On a criminal case.
On a criminal case.
Wow.
And so that was one of my cases. That my idea was that you can't have anybody on the jury that wouldn't believe that someone would take the blame for somebody else. And that was part of the focused jury group that we were
Was
doing.
it an older sister?
Older sister. Yeah, she was 23 or something.
Oh, so he was lying to protect the sister. Wow.
Right.
That's incredible.
She told him that as a kid that you will never go to jail. But if I do it, they're going to kill me. You'll never see my kids. You'll never see me, and you'll never see your father. Wow. So based on that, he made up a story.
Oh my gosh.
To help her.
Yeah. There was a case in Broward, something similar. They were picking up homeless people, I think, in Broward County. They were picking up homeless people and getting them to confess to rapes and murders. And they've gotten off since with that Innocence Project. Something like that. I think it was in Broward. Yeah.
But personal injuries, I focused on my last case I did. I was very happy, not happy about the accident, but happy that I helped the people. Was a poor, was a nice Haitian lady, 2 young kids, and a box truck just went right through a red light. Kid had some brain injury.
Wow.
She was messed up, and we got that case settled, for several million. Yeah.
Wow.
Was a great case. But
wow.
But that's where I help. And then to be able to take that money and focus it and have people help her manage that money and help the children to grow and to have a life.
Yeah.
That's important.
Right. Wow. That's incredible. How did you get into personal injury? You went from being a prosecutor to doing criminal. Did you dabble with criminal injury and personal injury at one point?
Well, I had a great mentor. Actually what happened is I came down to Florida and I was a lifeguard at Hollover Beach.
Oh, okay.
But I had my bathing suit on.
What didn't you do, man? You were a lifeguard, a prosecutor, a police officer?
Yes, boat captain, dive captain, and instructor.
Wow.
But I looked for a job and I hooked up with this guy, Jerry Piken, and he was a real gentleman. He was a great lawyer. And so I learned personal injury from him, and he let me explore and do what I wanted to do. And it was a great opportunity. So from there, and he was always treated the clients very well, always treated people with respect, always looked for the best for them. Always, if you're a lawyer, you got to be that much better.
Wow. That's awesome. So you had a good mentor, and now you're mentoring others. You're helping others, co-counseling cases with them and all that. That's
right.
Incredible.
That's what I enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So, and you got like I'm sure crazy cases. How did you even get involved on that criminal case? I'm like, that was in another state.
Right. It was Mississippi.
Wow. How did that happen? I mean, it's in another state. I don't even.
Because I worked with Amy.
Oh.
And Amy had a conflict. And so it was the Innocence Project for Justice for Juveniles. And they needed a trial consultant.
Okay.
And so I went there and I got involved.
Wow. That's an incredible story.
Well, I'll tell you, what was incredible about it? Let me tell you something. I give this kid a lot of credit. The incident happened, he was 12. Was found guilty on appeal. He's sitting in jail. Gets out at 19 for a new trial. They offer him, hey, listen, because of high publicity, it's on national TV, everything, we will, if you plead to second-degree murder, you'll be out because you already served 6 years and you would be eligible for parole. There'd be no reason why you wouldn't get parole. But we want you to admit on the plea that you killed your brother-in-law.
Oh.
And he was a devout Christian. And he said, as a Christian, it was one thing to lie to save my sister, but I can't save her anymore. But to lie and live with the fact that I killed a human being, my brother-in-law, I'd rather be in jail the rest of my life and take that risk than to enter a plea for something I didn't do.
Wow. I would sign it in a minute to get the hell out of there. You couldn't pay me to be in there.
It was a lot of pressure.
That's incredible. So he was 19 at that time. Isn't there how long was his sentence at that point? Like his original sentence? Do you remember?
No, it would be like 30. It would be first degree. So he was there. That's it.
Yeah.
Finished.
Wow. Jeez. Even at that young age, that's terrible. Wow. Tell me about another case. Have you guys had what's an impactful? That's a pretty impactful case. I don't even think I can get a more impactful case than that for me.
Well, I represented a woman, one of my cases I really liked. I represented a woman who tripped and fell from a worn rubber strip under a condo. And, they were saying, oh, she's, it's her fault. She goes up 100 times back and forth. She should see it.
Mm-hmm.
And my argument was, but she can't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
She can't. She's not allowed. Only the association. And if she could see it, what about the manager? What about the maintenance people? They're there every day cleaning that step, and nobody bothers to fix it. They just look at it, clean it, and they don't fix it.
Wow.
And I think the jury got angry about that.
What did she end up having after the fall? Did she have any procedures?
She had a dislocated ankle.
Oh, wow.
Which is very painful.
I'd imagine, yeah. Was that a verdict that came back?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It was quite a large verdict.
Yeah. Wow. And this was where? What city?
Dade County.
Dade County. Wow. Okay. Very cool.
I'm not going to tell you about the cases I lost.
No, never. Right. Yeah. I never get, I got a friend who tells me I've never gotten business projections that I didn't like to look at, because everybody always, hey, I got this great business idea. This business could be worth, $10 million tomorrow. And I go, yeah, but nobody wants to hear about the bad stuff,
Right.
Is there any specialty type of case that you niche in that is you're an expert at that one particular thing? Or
I think what makes me good, and it's funny because I don't think most people visualize it, but my background between criminal defense and personal injury actually works very well. Let me give you an example. I did for another gentleman. He got arrested for DUI with serious bodily injury, which is almost like manslaughter. And he would have gone to prison.
Wow.
Now, in this case, you need somebody who knows personal injury, okay? You need somebody who knows criminal defense.
Okay.
You have to know both because you have to understand how the insurance company is thinking, all the civil ramifications of what happened. And at the same time, you have to know how the prosecutor's thinking, what's going on. And also, I think as to a regular criminal lawyer, a personal injury trial lawyer understands about accident reconstruction, things like this. In other words, I show that the way the impact happened, there'd be no way for him to prevent it. It didn't matter how much he drank. The woman ran out in front of him. The accident could not have been avoided.
Okay.
So that was our take. But in this particular case, the decision was to try to take a plea. The idea was really bring home the accident reconstruction. There was an independent witness to the prosecutor to convince him to give him a sentence that doesn't have jail in it. Now, this woman was in a wheelchair. She was in a coma. This was a very serious case.
Wow.
And we were able to do that. The reason why we didn't go to trial was because he would have probably been convicted just on the DUI, not the accident. But given the severity of the facts, he would wind up going to prison for the DUI. And we didn't want him to have, 1 day in prison.
Okay.
And so there was other factors, and this was not his first DUI.
Oh, okay.
So, but the fact is, he did not cause this injury to this woman, and that was really the basis of getting the reduced sentence.
Wow, that's aggressive, but it sounds like sophisticated representation, right? Like your goal was to get that plea, is what it sounds like. So you guys brought in this expert. So were you the only attorney on that case, or was there multiple attorneys representing him?
No, I was the only attorney.
The only one. Okay,
only
so
one.
you okay. Wow. So you brought in this. You used your personal injury background to help this guy with the accident reconstruction, because I don't think in criminal they really use people like that, right? That's more
they
of a
use
injury.
Occasionally, but it's not something that a lot of general criminal lawyers would get involved in.
Right.
But but like on the box truck case I mentioned with the brain injury, in that case, there were almost like 10 lawyers on the case.
Oh, wow.
Because there was an attorney who was a family lawyer because she was going through a contested divorce. There was a personal injury lawyer who then referred to me as a trial lawyer. There was then the father decided, because they're separate, he got a lawyer. Then there was the guardian ad litem.
Yeah.
Then there was a ERISA lawyer, which is the lien lawyer. Then there was a trust lawyer.
Wow.
And then there were several lawyers on the other side. So by the time you get done, it's a lot of lawyering.
A lot of lawyering. Yeah. Wow. If you don't mind asking, that boy with the brain injury, was there certain limitations that he had as a result? Because, people see brain injury now. It could mean, a level 1, a level 10. How serious of a impact was it on that boy's?
It was amazing because he was critical. I think his heart stopped.
Oh my gosh.
They had to open up his skull to relieve the pressure on the brain.
Oh wow.
But at the end, he made an unbelievable recovery. I remember we were sitting with the nurse and we were talking and I said, do you have any, she said, do you have any problems in school? And he says, well, I have problems with math. And she said, was that from the accident? He goes, oh no, I had problems with math before that.
Yeah. That's funny. Oh, so this is what I was going to ask you about the brain injury. So what was the need for trial on that particular case, given the severity of the brain injury, right? And the impact? Well,
first, there was no trial. First, they were kind of denying whether he went through a red light. And we were able to scrub the internet. And we found somebody posted from a dash cam the accident. And it clearly showed that he went through a red light. So that kind of put that to rest.
Okay, wow.
And then the issue was insurance, because we went after excess coverage that really, I had help actually from another attorney who was a very good coverage person. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that there was kind of an ambiguity in a commercial policy, general policy, that didn't specifically exclude because they leased a truck, and we were able to get another $2 million out of that. So that really helped a lot.
Wow. Okay, so that's the reason for the litigation was the increase in coverage, the additional policy, I guess.
Right, but we didn't actually file suit. The only thing that
there was no suit filed.
Only just to get the settlement proved, because when you're dealing with that kind of issues, and a minor, we have to go before a judge, and the judge has to approve everything. Wow. And you have to get a separate guardian ad litem, which is another attorney to review what you did. Mm-hmm. And there's just a lot of reviewing to make sure that this child gets everything that he's entitled to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've had a couple cases like those. Those are, obviously if the policy is there, it makes sense. But on some of these cases, they haven't updated the statute probably in 20, 30 years. I forget the thresholds, right? But it's not a lot of money.
No, it's very. Actually, one of the things we did, which is you have to think about, is doing a structured settlement. Now, what happens in a structured settlement is that a lot of people say, well, you're not making enough money. Mm-hmm. There's not enough interest, to do at that time to do, let's say, a structure. But what a structure allows for a minor, why it's a good vehicle, is because, let's say a kid gets a lot of money. The minute he's 18, it's his money. Right. So a kid with millions of dollars, 18 years old, you can't control what he does.
Right.
Where with a structure, you can structure it out as long as you want. So you can structure it out till he's 30.
Okay.
When he's more mature to handle things.
Okay.
And also, every time you go back to court, if you need something, you have to go hire a lawyer, go back into court, get the judge to approve it, and you're wasting away funds on legal fees. Mm-hmm. Where with a structure, everything is structured. Once it's approved, there's no more legal fees,
right,
so to speak.
Right.
So it just goes smoothly.
Okay, I got you. That's smart. I just had a case where a kid turned 18. He was like 17 at the time. He turned 18, and he, luckily he said, "Hey, I want to go to pilot school. I want to become a pilot. I want to use this money to become a pilot." And he's in pilot school right now. Like I told him, I said, "Listen, this is a lot of money, man. I don't want anything. I don't want you to blow this money." And he's going to pilot school. So I told him when I get my private plane, he can fly me around, and we'll, but I don't know if I'm getting a private plane yet, but he's definitely excited about it. So
I'll tell you again about helping kids and helping people. I'll tell you a story about me that I'm a little crazy. Okay. So I was walking in the street and a big kid, I say kid, 6 something, right? gang kid with the underpants,
Yeah.
comes up to me, puts his face in me and goes, "Got any money?" And I looked him in the face and I said, "I have a lot of money, don't you?"
Yeah.
And he was shocked. He goes, "No." I said, "Well, do you work?" He goes, "No." I said, "Do you go to school?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, you don't work and go to school. Why do you need money?" So the kid looks at me and goes, "Well, I need money for food." So I said, "You need money for food?" I said, "I'm going to lunch. Why don't you be my guest?" I thought I could have had a bullet in my head. We go to lunch. Wow. His whole personality changes. We sit down.
Where'd you go to lunch?
We found a restaurant close by. Okay. And I sat down and I said to him, "I'm a good judge of character. And you're a smart boy. You shouldn't be asking for money on a street. You need to go back to school. And I see such greatness in you." And when I got done, I almost felt something because he turned around. You know what he said to me? He said, "Mr. Snyder, nobody's ever taken the time to talk to me the way you did."
Wow. How old was this kid?
About 20.
Wow. That's the problem these days is nobody does take time. And I was going to bring that up. Even in the personal injury community, I feel like there's a lot of lawyers out there who are very, I don't want to tell you my secrets. That's the secret sauce. There's a lot out there who will mentor, but there's a certain group that they don't want to take the time to help mentor because they view it as, oh my gosh, there's so many PI lawyers here. There's, everybody's getting cases. My business isn't as good as it was. Where's all the cases going? And then there's this other group of lawyers out there who's like, hey, let me help you. Let me mentor you. Maybe I can co-counsel a case with you and add value, and it's becoming more and more difficult, even in the personal injury, outside the personal injury, just to take time to mentor because people don't want problems, right? Isn't that what you find?
I think any time that there's two things in life with all the pressures and everything. One, practice gratitude. Mm-hmm. Be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. And that's hard for me. But I try to practice it. Every day I write down 10 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that the toilet flushed. I'm grateful that, I was able to have a cup of coffee with a friend. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is, write it down and feel it. Feel it for yourself. Very important. And the other thing is, what can I do to help somebody else? What can I do to put a smile on somebody's face, lighten their load a little bit, be pleasant. And if we could do that, it just makes the day so much better for everybody.
Tell me about it. I love that. Thank you. That's awesome. And staying humble is a big one. I think a lot of times these days, people on social media, they're showing off their cars, they're showing off their this and that. And people just, they want, but they don't realize you got to earn it. You got to stay humble. You got to work hard, go to school to get those things. It just doesn't pop up overnight, right?
I think one of the things that stuck with me was somebody once said, tell me in 1969 who won the World Series. Tell me in 1952 who was the president of the United States. Tell me. But ask that person, who was the person who helped you out when you needed it? Mm. And everybody remembers that person.
Man, you're going to make me cry. You got me thinking of some people in my life, that I need to call and tell them thank you. Yeah, that's incredible. So let me ask you, why did you want to become a lawyer?
Actually, I wanted to become a lawyer because I wanted to help people. I didn't want to see people get screwed. Mm-hmm. Like somebody said, well, that's the law, or, that's just the way it is. And I wanted to feel, no, maybe it's not the way it is. And maybe you can change things and help people. Mm-hmm. And that's why I went into personal injury and criminal defense, because it's an area where you help the little guy. Mm-hmm. In criminal cases, it's not about getting somebody off. It's about resolving their issues. Mm-hmm. So if somebody has a drinking problem, we get them into a program, we help them. If somebody is off the beaten path, get them back onto the path, get them back into college. Personal injury, their life has been disruptive. How can we get them back to becoming a vital working person where they have self-esteem? Those are the things that really I enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Speaking of things you enjoy, we found out we have a shared passion for scuba diving.
Right.
When was the first time you dove and where? Do you remember?
The first time I dove, I was 10 years old. I was in a swimming pool.
Okay.
In New Jersey.
Okay.
And I just thought, don't forget, when you're 10, you're little. You know, you're not that tall.
My son's
I'm not
10.
that tall now, but
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they had a swimming pool with a diving board. So it was pretty deep, like maybe 12 feet back then, you know?
Okay.
And I was just amazed that I could sit on the bottom with the drain, to sit on the bottom of the pool, just sit there breathing underwater. It was just an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And so I got into scuba diving. Of course, I couldn't do a lot of it being 10 years old. But when I went to University of Miami, and then I graduated, started practicing law in Florida, then I got very involved in scuba diving. And I went from a scuba diver to a dive master to a dive instructor to a master dive instructor.
Okay.
And then I became a dive boat captain, a U.S. Coast Guard captain.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. Favorite place to go scuba diving?
There's just so many, but I would say probably Truk Lagoon in Micronesia was one, Palau.
Truk is T-R-A-W-K?
T-R-U-K.
T-R-U-K, okay.
And then I dove in Baja California with 800-pound sea lions.
Oh.
Hawaii, I swam with a 12 to 14-foot tiger shark.
Oh,
So that was something. His eyeball was this big.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was with my stepkid. It was like 15 years old, and it was the first time I said, "Don't move," and he listened to me.
Oh man, that's too funny. That's too funny. Yeah, I can imagine. I showed you some videos of my shark dive that I had. It was
phenomenal.
2 days. It was beautiful. That was with a GoPro. Those were the GoPro camera. I brought one of these big bulky things. I couldn't get a damn photo or video that didn't come out
GoPro's
blurry.
great.
The GoPro was phenomenal for that, and it's on my phone forever. The other one I had to like put it on a thing and put it on my phone. But I went to the best place I probably dove was Bimini. Have you been to Bimini? It's beautiful there.
Bimini's great.
I feel like
The cement ship and
the cement ship was fun. Although my friends were pissed, I took a bunch of pictures and videos of them jumping off of the cement ship, and
the wall dive.
And the wall dive is beautiful there. Yeah, the wall dive is phenomenal. I'll tell you a funny story. I'm diving. My best friend David, guy doesn't know how to swim to save his life. We tried out for water polo in high school. They put him as the goalie because the goalie doesn't have to swim; they just stay there. And the guy's got 2 calves that are the size of anchors. It just sinks to the bottom. And we go scuba diving. He went scuba diving because I was like, Dave, I need you to go scuba diving with me because we'll do it together, as we get older. And we're there and we're doing the wall, and we start off at 30 feet and then keep going down. And we had just gotten like certified. And I look at my watch and I go, we're at 100 feet right now. But I'm not talking underwater, I'm looking and I go, my eyes bulge out of my head and I go, we're at 100 feet right now. And I look over at him and I show him the watch and he's looking at it and he's like, oh, he doesn't care. He was a Marine. He did all sorts of stuff, whatever. I look at him like, oh my gosh, this guy doesn't know how to swim. And mind you, we have the BCD on, you can float with the inflator. And I look at him, we're going to die. I go, this guy is going to sink because if you look down the wall, it's infinity, man.
Right, it goes down.
I go, this guy's going to die and I'm going to have to raise his daughter. I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to explain to her that I wanted to get into scuba diving and that's why her dad died. And I'm looking and I go, oh my gosh. I had a panic attack at 100 feet underwater and I swim almost to the surface. And luckily, Chris, who's also, he works with us and he's my good friend as well. He grabs me by the ankle and he's like, what are you doing? Look at me in the eyes, dude. And I stayed right there at 30 feet ish. Thank God. If he didn't grab me, forget about it. I was toast. And that's like the story of my life is if it wasn't for my friends, I'd be in, be in trouble over and over again. But I love scuba diving. Ever since then, we did the shark dive, which was phenomenal.
You said the night dive. You did a night dive.
I did a couple night dives. We did some in Pompano, and we did a night dive with the sharks, which was terrifying. It's me and Dave, my buddy, and we're in the water. It's pitch black dark at night. We're in the Bahamas in the middle of the ocean. There's about 30 feet of water, crystal clear, but it's dark. And you have your flashlight, which is all you could see. And I'm the last guy up, and the swim instructor just beat the line, went right up on the side of the boat and climbed up. And I'm thinking, what the hell, man? You're supposed to wait for me, dude. I'm the diver. You're supposed to wait for me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is it. I'm going to die in the water. Some shark's going to come and just get me before I get out of the water. So freaked out. But it was a real thrill. It was very thrilling. And you mentioned to me that somebody had died on that same shark dive like 10 years before me when I went, and it happened to be a lawyer. I said, oh, the newspaper is going to have fun with this one, you know? 2 lawyers dead. But no, it was, I felt very safe. I had a really great time. It was such an experience. It was earth shattering to see these sharks and to touch them and to look at them and pet them and not to think, oh my gosh, this thing's going to kill me. They're just swimming in the water, man.
But if you get in the way.
If you get in the way, the way it was explained to me was they're like a dog with no paws. So they can't touch you except with their mouth, and which happens to have, hundreds of razor sharp teeth in it. And so sometimes they'll bite you because they want to see, hey, what is this thing? Let me touch it. And so he said, one of them actually was coming towards me, and wow. David pushed it up, and its mouth was wide open actually on that dive trip. And if David didn't push it up, it probably would have been shark bait, but thank God for David. There he goes, saving my ass, even though he can't swim. But yeah, it was a thrilling time. I would definitely recommend it. It's in the Bahamas. It was beautiful, crystal clear water. I wanted to see hammerheads. Have you ever seen hammerheads in the water? That's like my favorite shark.
West Palm Beach, I saw a hammerhead right next to me.
Wow.
And I was thinking of touching it, but I said, you know what? Not a good idea.
Not a good idea to touch it. Yeah.
You don't know what's going to freak them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the one experience I had, really, I don't mind seeing sharks underwater, mm-hmm. but it's on the surface. I was diving at Miami Beach. There's a thing called deep freeze. It's a 140-foot deep wreck called the deep freeze.
Okay.
And I was down there and I was coming up, and it was one of these days in Miami Beach, very rare. The water was like a swimming pool. I mean, not a ripple. It's very rare to have that kind of thing in an ocean. And I came up and I said, this is like heaven. This is like the best day. And I got my legs spread out like this, and I'm on my back. And my friend's pulling up the line, and all goes, get on the boat, get on the boat. And I go, why? What's happening? And I see a fin this big pop up like right between my legs. And I don't know what I did, but I was able to get onto the platform. And as soon as I got on the platform, that thing just went right around the platform.
Yeah, it is terrifying to think. I mean, we've been trained with Jaws and all these other movies. It's terrifying to see too, right? But underwater, they look so different. Beautiful. Yeah, it just looks beautiful and so cool. That's a deep freeze off Miami Beach?
Miami Beach.
Oh, wow. I got to go check that out. I didn't know that. I'm tired of diving Pompano. It's like, how many times could I go to Pompano to dive?
West Palm Beach is great.
West Palm, yeah. I've been to
Jupiter, lemon sharks.
I've been up to Boynton and Lake Worth, but I haven't gone to Jupiter.
Call me anytime.
I'm now I got to call you for all the dive spots. I got to know. There's this guy I know. He's got a bunch of. We wanted to steal his GPS on his boat because he has all the lobster traps. He knows where all the lobsters are at. And I'm like, dude, we got to hit him up.
But that's when you get shot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, he's a good friend of mine. I wouldn't steal it from him, but it was definitely a thought at one point. I was like, man, the guy would pull up lobsters after lobsters. I go, what is with this guy, man?
It was what I wanted to do. I wanted to walk into a very fancy seafood restaurant, mm-hmm. and they have those big tanks with the lobsters on them, and I wanted to walk in and then just stick my hand down and grab a lobster. And I go, what are you doing? It's okay. I got a license. Yeah.
Do you like going lobstering?
It's not something that I I'm not a spearfishman or.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't. I like pointing out the lobsters and then my friends go get them. It's too much work for me.
Right.
Under the water. I'm very tranquil. Once I hit the water, there's no cell phones. There's no emails. There's no, I need you to look at my case. There's nothing under the water.
What happened when I was a boat captain, they have that mini season, and that used to drive me crazy. I used to hate going out on mini season. And then people would be screaming on the boat. And, one guy would come up and say, you took me to a terrible spot. There's no lobsters. And the next guy comes up with a full catch, I guess, okay, I don't know where you were looking, but he got a full catch. And it's just a mess. And people spend thousands and thousands of dollars for mini season.
Yeah, mini season's fun, but it's crazy. I think a lot of the amateurs come out on mini season. And one time we had an experience where Florida Wildlife came up on our boat. And the Florida Wildlife guy was an amateur. He couldn't dock the boat. So this is our boat on the water. It's a calm day. His boat, the FWC, goes like this. He goes, hold on, I'm trying to dock up. Give me one more turn here. He goes, and okay. I think he just got hired just for mini season, the FWC guy, because it's a lot of people out there and they're doing crazy things and reckless, and they're pulling up lobsters that were too short. And stuff like that. But that was, I do like to go lobstering just to see the lobsters and then have my friends pull them. I don't want to touch them. I'm peaceful underwater. I don't do any work. But awesome. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they find you? Website, phone number?
My phone number is 305-919-9797. You can look me up on the internet, Barry Snyder like the Snyder pretzel. Easy to find.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Appreciate
I had a great
it.
time.
Thank you.
And I'm going to take you up on that scuba diving.